Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of SCUM. This is the podcast where we dive into the deepest, the darkest, the murkiest waters, and we chop it up with a plethora of legendary guests. And speaking of legends, I am your host, the number one scumbag, your bastard of ceremonies, Rex Ruger. That's Rex with 3 X's. Count them. 1, 2, 3. That's right. I'm coming to you, as always, from the Blue Lagoon, the den of sin. And I am the hottest host on the internet. Who else could be qualified to interview the coolest guests? You might also know me as the man with the golden voice and the velvet tongue. It's gotten softer over the years. AKA the hair metal high priest, AKA the king of sleaze, but most importantly, AKA Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. And I was just on the phone with my attorney. The DNA testing is progressing very nicely, and pretty soon we will have the concrete proof that I am the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked a few grams, got 1 million fans, always going out with a bang. Mr. Wop Baba Loo Bop Wop Bang Bang Shazam, hot damn! Woo! Man, I feel good. Let me give myself a look, and let me tell the people out there that if you want the locks that rock, get the product that does it all. Spray responsibly. That's got to be my little caveat here. And, of course, I am the hardest working man in show business, fronting numerous glam and sleaze metal bands. Among them right now, of chief importance to me, is Love Sword, and I am looking for players. So hit me up if you want to be the backing band and looking at the backside of the greatest frontman to ever do it. You know, of course, my father being number 1, but me being 1A. So, and of course, this is the No Frills podcast. You get to watch the 49-year-old, the old fart work his technology. You don't get a cute little theme song or a little intro or some animation or some shit bouncing across your screen, because I'm not Mr. Technology, okay? I'm an old man, so you get to see it all, warts and all, as I invite my guests. And today we got a good one for you, I think. You know why you don't get frills on this podcast? Because you get thrills. And you're looking at the thrills. Feast your eyes on it, ladies and gentlemen. Feast your eyes. And I'm pretty excited about our guest today. So he's a rock star. He's a front man. So let me give myself another look. Well, you know what? It's nice when every side that you have is your good side. It's an advantage. It really is. So we will have ourselves a damn good guest here. And this is a guy whose band I've been really digging on, man. They've got a sound that I really like. And I'm excited to be talking to another legendary frontman. So we will wait here, because rock stars like to make people wait. I know, because I'm a pretentious rock star. So, let me just say, I implore anybody that wants to be in Love Sword, hit me up in the comment section. I'm looking for virtuosos. We'll get back to that later. Here's my guest. And I'm really happy to see him. He's a pal. He's a pal. Let's get him in here. Let's get him in here. Where is he? Stevie Westwood. Not to be mistaken with Stevie Winwood. We don't want to mistake that, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I'm the one, the only.
You're the one, the only, from the band Bad Touch. And let me tell you, buddy, this is a band that I'm just recently discovered, man. But I'm just loving you guys more and more every day. I mean, just a great album. The last album, just fantastic. That's really where I discovered you guys. How long have you guys been doing this for?
Just over a decade now. So, I'm 31, so we all joined in our late teens,
So I'm very late to the fucking party then here, huh?
No, well, it's a labor of love. It's been a long time coming. So yeah.
Yeah, so 2020 was the album Kiss the Sky. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but you being a legendary frontman, now how it works here in the United States, you're also looking at a legendary frontman, because I am the son of Diamond David Lee Roth. I don't know if you know that. Over here in America, our legendary status is inherited. So I just automatically, just by de facto, I become a legend.
Yeah, well, I definitely wouldn't use the term legendary to describe me, but that's perhaps my, my, don't know, my humility, possibly. I don't know.
Your picture is getting a little frozen.
But
Oh, there you go. There you go.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. No, it's great to meet you, Mark. Thanks for taking the time to chat to us.
I prefer to go by my stage name of Rex Ruger, and you see the way I spell it with 3 X's. That's extra glam right there.
Okay, yeah, that is 100% what that is.
That's Rex. A lot of glam. Yeah, that's a lot of.
Thank you for correcting me. I shall call you Rex from now on. So,
what is the importance of a good frontman? Since we're a couple of great ones sitting here, shooting the shit. What is important about being the frontman for a band, though? Like, what kind of, I don't know if you play an instrument. Do you play an instrument, or do you just front the band?
No, I'm just the singer. I just,
Okay. So, don't say just the singer now, Stevie. Come on, not just the singer. But what is the importance when you don't play an instrument and you don't play like rhythm guitar while you sing? What do you focus on the most? Like, what are you trying to channel, or what are you trying to achieve?
My ethos has always been breaking down the band is better than the people, if you know what I mean. Like, so I want people to feel like I'm singing in the front room, like we're all like friends, family, brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? Like trying to make everyone feel happy and at home.
Right.
Without, I don't want to put lead singer on a pedestal too much. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm a portal for emotions. That's what I am.
Oh, I like the way you put that. A portal for emotions. I like that. Yeah. So what's the creative process like when you guys get together? Because you being the front man, it looks like from what I'm seeing, listening to you guys on Apple Music, that you're credited with writing most of the lyrics. Is that your domain right there? You take care of the lyrics, and the other guys take care of the music?
Yeah, I mean, I write, a lot, probably 60-70% of the lyrics, but it's certainly not all me. The guys, George in particular, the drummer, he has a big input on the lyrics, as does Seeks, the guitar player. Part of the reason we've been able to be a band for 10, 12 years is the fact that we all dip into each other's territory. You know what I mean? It keeps everyone fresh. Like, I write some of the guitar stuff. George the drummer writes some of the lyrics. And I love it. I love the fact that it keeps me on my toes and it keeps the stuff fresh,
Sure. Now, I'm sure that it might drive you crazy at this point, but I mean, it's hard to not draw comparisons to our great American band, the Black Crowes. And I'm sure you hear that all the time, right? I'm sure you must get that all the time. You have to. I mean,
I hear it a lot. And I love it, and it never gets old.
Okay, so that was the question. Okay, so that was going to be my follow-up then. When you are a young band and you're searching for your own identity, it's not infuriating to be compared and always mentioned in the same sentence with a band like the Black Crowes, or is it really an honor?
No, it is 100% an honor. They're a huge part of Bad Touch and our lives as individuals. I think far too many bands try and kind of like push back from their influences and things like that, whereas I've always been like, we fucking love Lynyrd Skynyrd, we fucking love the Black Crowes, you know what I mean, we Brother Sons, we love, we love Blackstone Cherry, you know what I mean, like it's we're not afraid for people to know where our hearts lie, and I personally, I would always rather give that honesty to people,
Are you less of a pain in the ass to work with, though, than Chris Robinson?
Well, ask the other guys, but I know you've spoke to my bro Seeks before, but I'm sure the guys would tell you I'm a bit of a diva, but I do try and not be.
Well, you got to do something as a front man, right? I mean, if you don't have an instrument,
you know what I mean?
So, as you were growing up, was music always the dream, or did you have something else in mind, or did your parents want to see you go in a different direction? Like, what was your upbringing like? Was music always?
Yeah, I'm really lucky, man. Like, I've got two of the best parents in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I'm sitting down their back garden now, where we're doing, and they've always been like, do what you want to do, be who you want to be. But
that's cool.
If you're going to do it, you ain't, like my dad always said to me, like, you ain't going to lay in bed till 1 PM saying you're a musician. If you're a musician, you got to get up at, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and work at it. You know what I mean?
And you got to do podcasts with some guy that thinks he's David Lee Roth's son.
Yeah,
that's part of the job, right?
Like, it's part of the parcel, man.
It's par for the course. It is. Yeah.
Exactly.
So what is the what is the big dream though? Like you guys being a fairly young band in terms of how big your catalog is. Like where does a young band go to really get that exposure? Is it about getting like label support? Is it about landing yourself on a big tour? Is it about breaking in the States? Like what is the objective?
Well, man, if I knew that, we'd be laughing. But no, so we're very lucky to be part of the Marshall family. We're signed to Marshall Records.
Yes.
Who have always supported us, and they're great people to be a part of. We've always just prided ourselves in our live shows, and just doing it the old school way of just going out, touring as much as you can.
Yeah.
Gaining as many friends as you can. And this is why this stuff like this really hits home to me. Like chatting to you, who I didn't know from Adam 2 days ago, and to hear that you're digging what we're doing is a real real good thing for me. So just doing it that way, just going out and finding people and just playing the shows and hoping the music connects with people.
So now this is probably a standard kind of stock question, but I'll ask it anyway, though. But do you remember who your first influences were, or who were the guys in music that really made you stop and really, really just have your jaw drop and you were just in awe of and just said, wow, that's those are the guys, that I'm going to put a poster up of, or those are the guys that I want to emulate or play air guitar in your room to. You remember who those guys were?
100%, man. Because I still listen to all of that to this day. Like, AC/DC were a big one for me when I was like a proper adolescent teenager. Just like that drive. That's
know what I mean. Tough band not to like, right? I mean,
it's like anyone who says they don't like AC/DC just obviously just hasn't listened enough or switched off enough. If you put AC/DC on in the background, guaranteed, no matter what music you like, someone's going to be like giving it a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A party might break out.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was AC/DC were a big one for me. Black Crowes, obviously. So many bands. Blackstone Cherry have been. I still remember to this day the moment I heard Lonely Train on what was Kerrang TV over here.
Yeah.
And we were sitting I was 16 years old, and we were sitting in his front room, and Lonely Train came on by Blackstone Cherry. The chun 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 chun. And I just literally, as my 16-year-old, I just stopped. Like I was just stopped listening to him. Like, and I just turned and looked at the telly and was like, "Who are these guys? This is amazing."
That's when you know that music. That's when you know that a piece of art has really put its footprint on you. When it just makes you stop. And just
100%. And Lynyrd Skynyrd. Like, I'm kind of, I love that kind of marry up of British American bands. Like I'm a huge Rolling Stones, Free, Bad Company.
Yeah.
But then I loved Skynyrd and Blackstone Cherry and all that, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, me and Seek, when I did have a chance to talk to Seek, that was one of the things that we discussed. Now, it's no secret, obviously, especially to somebody that lives here in the States, that a lot of the legendary bands, and I'm talking about the ones that you put up on the Mount Rushmore of great bands, most of them do come from England. You guys really, really produced over the years the Stones, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, the Who, Zeppelin. The list goes on and on of the legendary bands. But do we got any of those bands here in America? Who do you look at as our American bands who are legends?
Well, yeah, I keep harping back to Skynyrd, but like Skynyrd are a huge thing to me. That kind of southern, the kind of southern rock thing, and people for years we've been called Southern Rock, which is hilarious to me. Bearing in mind from like
Southern English.
Yeah, exactly. And we're East Anglia in England. You know what I mean? But the fact is, it's that matrimony between harmony guitars, the Allman Brothers, and and things like that. And the big harmonic vocal. It's just, I love it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if me and Seek actually got to the bottom of it, and I haven't aired his episode yet, so I don't know. But what is it that you think that made and has continued to make England such a hotbed for great music. Can you put your finger on why so many great bands have come out of England?
I don't know. I'd possibly say that there's so many. We're a tiny island, right? And there's so many different cultures, and it's a melting pot for everybody. You think you can drive 4 hours and there'll be somebody who talks completely differently to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And driving 4 hours across America, you're still in the same state. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, that's true.
You know what I mean? So it's like just having this huge melting pot of cultures, influences, and people from every different background. There's people who really don't have a quid to whatever, and people who are very wealthy, and and it's just like it's just, I don't know whether it's just I honestly don't know, but I just think
the consumption. Do you think what's making you guys better is the consumption of more tea?
Yeah, possibly. I do.
It's a theory.
I'd love a cup of tea. I don't love a cup of tea quite as much as Six does. He's mad.
He's really into it. Yeah. He's a connoisseur. He's a connoisseur of tea. He really took it seriously.
So that's why I got this.
As soon as the conversation switched to tea, Seek got very, very, very intent on that part of the conversation. He takes it seriously. No doubt about that.
He doesn't really drink, so he leaves that to me. So
I noticed that. So you guys have done covers before. The last one that I remember hearing was "Can't You See" by the Marshall Tucker Band. You guys did a great job on it. Has there ever been any talk of doing any covers of the Black Crowes?
Not really. It's one of those ones that and I say this quite gingerly because I don't want to impose that we don't hold the people that we've already covered in high regard. But
right.
But like, I honestly don't think that we could do the Black Crowes. The reason we did "Can't You See" and we done "Midnight Rider" by Greg Allman, and the reason we did those was not because we wanted to do them better, but we could do them in our own spin. You know what I mean?
Right.
In the kind of Bad Touch way. Black Crowes, would we do it? A, would we do it much different? B, would we do it any better? And the answers to both those questions are probably no.
If you could do a song by them, though, do you have one by them that really speaks to you a lot and that you really love, particularly by the Crowes?
So many. Hotel Illness, I'd love to do.
Okay.
Soul Singing, I'd love to do like a big band version of Soul Singing.
Yeah.
There's so many songs. And Remedy, I mean, fuck me, like what song?
Yeah. Well, when you guys are over there in England, across the pond, how big is it to a British band though? Because I've never been over to the UK. What is what would be the big break though? Is it making it over here in the States? Is that important when you're a band?
Personally, for me, this is speaking for me, not necessarily for Bad Touch. I've always dreamed of playing America. It's been a serious thing of me. Whether or not I make any money, I'd quite happily play a show in America and then never play again because I just want to say I've done it. You know what I mean? So
right.
I don't know what is the be all and end all, or what would make it, what would not make it, but I would love a chance just to go over there and just see how the American public receives us, see whether or not we're doing a good thing. Just to have that chance. We had a chance right before the pandemic hit, right before COVID hit. We had a chance to go over and play in LA at winter time, and then COVID hit, and we were like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Sucked for everybody. Sure did. Yeah.
So I'd love to. I'd love to play that. It's just again, it's money and time and the things that unfortunately rule our lives. That stop.
Yes. Yeah. So let me ask you this: going forward, with obviously the music business having changed so much, and I'm 49 years old, so I mean, I've really seen it change a lot.
Yeah.
How do you plan on going forward as a band with so many different ways to release music? You know, I've asked other musicians this, and I always like to get your take on where Bad Touch's head is as far as what direction they want to go in, because a lot of people are just releasing singles. Some people are going the EP route. Some people are going the full length album route. Well, where do you see you guys going?
Well, 100%. I know what we're doing for the next thing. We're just about to go into the studio to record another full studio album. So you know, and whether or not that's the right decision, who knows? Who's to say? But we plan on recording a full studio album, releasing it as a full studio album. There may or may not be singles before the album comes out.
Right.
But you know, it's one of those ones. It's a weird time to be a musician, and you know, I'm speaking as a music lover as well as a music maker, if you know what I mean. So like, it's a weird time to be a music lover. Like, you know, how to do it the right way, I don't know. All I know is the way we're going to do it. We're going to make a proper a full album, release an album, and then just see where that takes us. So it's, you know, that's what we want to do. So
when you're not playing the style of music that you play, is there anything that just for pure enjoyment and entertainment purposes that you listen to that people might be surprised that you listen to? What are your tastes?
100%. I'm a complete sponge when it comes to music. Like, I listen to everything from like club stuff, from like Dua Lipa, and like, you know, to all the old soul people. I've got a huge part of me is soul. Like Motown and the black soul artists, and you know.
I was fortunate enough to have my father introduce me to a lot of good music, and I think that holds true when people say that you do end up listening to your parents' music. You do eventually.
You do, and my dad had a huge thing in disco. Like, I grew up listening to Kool and the Gang and Heat Wave, you know, and stuff like that. And it was just like there was something about the driving rhythm and the, you know, and it's great. And then I got into like soul music. And listening to, you know, like, you know, all the old like Sam and Dave and James Brown, and you know.
And now Seek told me something very interesting, and of course, me being the king of sleaze, you know, the frontman for numerous glam bands, I don't believe when it comes to touching that there is such a thing as a bad touch. So what does the band name mean? Because Daniel Seekings told me right here on my show that he kind of has a love-hate relationship with that name.
Oh, mate, yeah, you're talking to the bloke who I was no part in the band name process, right? I came in about a year after I joined after Bad Touch was Bad Touch, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, the band name's always been what it is. So I don't know. Is it the best band name in the world ever in 2022? Probably not. But also, you know, we're rocking what we're given, baby. Like, we're going. It's not one of those things.
But it's not but you know what though, for the kind of music that you play, it's not the worst name.
No, exactly. It
by
is
any
like,
means.
Kind of like, you know, what are you going to do after work? You're going to go home and, you know, and cook dinner for your wife? No, I'm going to go out and see a Bad Touch gig. Like, you know, that's
yeah. Well, listen, since you are such a good sport, I do a little segment on here that's kind of reminiscent of what you would see on game shows where they put people in the hot seat, you know, and they just give them like a you know, like a choice of one thing or another. And you will be graded on this, Stevie. Okay, so I don't want to put any pressure on you, but all right, I'm going to fire away here. Okay,
I'm ready. Go
on. Black Sabbath or Zeppelin?
Oh, fucking hell! I've got both tattoos on this arm. I'm gonna have to go Zeppelin because it was my first tattoo, but I don't like you for that question.
How about puppies or kittens?
Puppies. I'm a dog person.
The top bunk or the bottom bunk?
I like the top bunk because you feel more important.
You do, okay. Boxers, briefs, or commando?
In a free world, commando.
Commando. But, Star Wars or Star Trek?
That's close as well because I'm a massive nerd. So I don't know, Jean-Luc Picard era Star Trek, like, you know, Patrick Stewart era Star Trek, or then Star Wars.
Okay. Fair enough. Batman or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Okay. French fries or onion rings?
I don't know. Why not both?
I like that answer. That's very diplomatic. Okay, now here's the toughest one. In their prime, Steven Seagal versus Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, fucking hell. It's got to be Jean-Claude for the Roundhouse.
All right. You know what? I'm looking at your score. I'm looking at your score here, and I think you got all of them right, Stevie. You passed.
Yeah.
You survived the furnace. You survived the furnace, and I agree with all your answers. So, that's really what matters right here. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot the most important one. Van Halen, Roth or Hagar?
Oh, man. I don't know. Well, okay, right. Here's the thing. I like Roth Van, because I always sit in the middle. I like Roth Van Halen, but I like Hagar and Chickenfoot. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair enough, because I wanted to make sure you remembered who you were talking to here.
Yeah,
okay, so I mean, there is only one right answer when it comes to that one, and there's no wiggle room on it. So let me ask you this: when me and you were talking and we were setting this up, I totally fucked up yesterday, and I apologize for my end of it. The time difference thing, and I'm pretty new to podcasting. The time difference thing really fucks me up sometimes.
Mate, I've got no idea. I was like, when are we doing this? What time is it?
I had it written down, and I think I had the 5-hour time difference right, but I had it the other way around. So I thought that that 2 p.m. for you was going to be 7 p.m. for me, when that would be vice versa. Though you are 5 hours later than I am. It's I had it the other way around. So, but when I was texting you, you had said you're going to go grab a drink, and you're going to.
Neither of us know how the world.
Yeah, but. Oh, I guess not. No. So, hold on. Your picture's getting a little broken up there. Hold on. I'm losing your picture's getting a little frozen there.
A bit.
Yeah, so are you. Yeah.
Come back to me, Bex. Come back to me.
Yeah, that looks a little better. That's a little better. So when we were setting this up, you told me that you were going to go grab a drink, and then you were going to head to the loo. And I'm always fascinated by, the difference in the terminology, from one country to another. What exactly does that mean? Going to the loo, and where does the loo come from? You there?
So
I lost you.
Are we there?
Are you able to hear me?
We've done so well.
I can hear you. I just can't see you. Your picture's frozen. Oh, there you go. You're starting to move a little now. Yeah, your picture's just getting a little frozen. Are you able to hear me at all? See, this is what happens when you do a podcast. See? This is what happens right here. This is real life right here. We're going to get Stevie back here, though. Look at him, though. Look at him. Handsome fella still, though, right? I mean, I guess we get to see his a still shot of him for the time being.
Yeah.
Are you there? Stevie? Let's see if we can get him back in here. I do not know. Stevie. Well, we lost him for a minute, but I did suggest to him to log out and log back in. Isn't this fun, folks? Isn't this fun? Right? You get to see it all, warts and all. This is how technology really works. Edit. I don't edit shit. There's no editing. I don't like to edit. I like you to see the mistakes. I'm not Paul Stanley. I'm not Vince Neil. I don't need any tricks. This is what you get with Pod Scum. You see it all. And we'll wait for Stevie to pop back in here. He left the room, and I think he's going to probably get himself to a better, more prime spot. Get himself to some better real estate. Now, he is coming to us from across the pond, you know? So, we got to bear with him, you know? He's coming to us all the way from the UK. So, you know, you got to take that into account as well. That does matter. So we will see if we can get Stevie to join us, because I haven't even propositioned him for Love Sword yet, but it's very disheartening to find out that he doesn't play an instrument, though, because I don't know if he thinks he's going to horn in and be the front man. I mean, that can't happen. There's only room enough for one frontman in this band. Let's face it. I mean, come on. But I digress. We will get him back in here, I think. So, again, let me remind people that if they want to be a part of Love Sword, if they think they got the chops to play behind the man, then you know what to do, folks. Hit me up in the comments section. Send me emails. Send me, direct messages on social media. You can find me everywhere. I'm Rex Ruger. And don't forget the 3 X's. I am the hardest working man in show business. Okay? I mean, I do it for the love. I do it for the passion. I do it for the chicks. I do it for, I do it. I do it. And I really do it. As you can see right here, as illustrated right here by the fuck up in the middle of this podcast. You see what's happening here? We had technical difficulties. And guess what? You're seeing how we work through technical difficulties here on Pod Scum. This is what we do. We buy time. We stall. We, I guess we can review Stevie Westwood's answers when I threw him into the furnace. Right out of the gate, I killed him with Black Sabbath versus Led Zeppelin. So, I mean, apparently he has tattoos of both. But, hey, life is tough. It's all about choices, man. It's all about choices. What are you going to do? Choices. You got to make them. And that's all right. He did well, though. He did well. He said in a perfect world, he'd like to go commando style, though, as opposed to boxers or briefs. And when I asked him about fries and onion rings, he said, why not both? So there you go. That's a guy that's going to have some cholesterol problems on down the line, probably. But, hey, he's working a lot of that off on stage, I'm sure, though. And while we're waiting for him, I guess we can do a little product placement again. Reminding my audience out there that if you too want the locks that rock, then get the product that does it all. Yep, look at this stuff. You want to be a glam god yourself? You want to be able to do like I do and look in the mirror and never see a bad side and always see a handsome face staring back at you? Oh, goodness gracious.
Hello.
Hey, there he is. He's back again.
I've gone into the house, so I've got Wi-Fi. There you go.
Oh, perfect. I was stalling for time because I'm recording my show and I was stalling for time, but you know what? I'm a master at it. I'm pretty good at it.
Sorry about that, Rick.
No. Hey, I'm one of those kind of guys who, at almost 50 years old, I don't claim that I'm going to do the podcasting thing perfectly. First of all, I'm not going to pull a Paul Stanley or a Vince Neil and not let you see behind the curtain. I'm not using no backing vocals, no click tracks, no cute stuff. I don't start my podcast with any kind of, and you know what? I hide my deficiencies in plain sight. I tell the audience, you're not going to get no theme music. You don't get nothing jumping across your fucking screen. I'm not a technological whiz. I jump right in and I talk a little bit of shit and then I get my interviewees right into the room. That's how I roll,
Apologies for that.
No, don't worry about it, man. I talked through that whole thing and I did my thing and entertained my audience, or tried to anyway.
Yeah.
I knew you'd come back. I knew you'd come back.
That's all we ever do, mate. That's all we ever do. Try to entertain.
We try to entertain, right. And I was going over some of your answers, with the audience of how you did when I threw you into the furnace, and how much you didn't how much you didn't seem to like Sabbath and the Sabbath Zeppelin question. But
no, I love Sabbath. Right, that was a really hard question.
That's a hard one.
I've got a tattoo on the back of my arm of a wizard, which I don't know if you can see.
Yep, you do.
My favorite Sabbath song. They've got a Zeppelin tattoo up here, which you probably can't see either. But hello, there you go. So yeah,
you look like the kind of guy, though. It's surprising when I look at you, and this reminds me again, that you can't judge a book by its cover. You look like the kind of guy that would be playing, and I mean this in the nicest possible way. You look like the kind of guy that would be playing in a Pantera-like band. You've got that look.
Long hair, big beard.
The beard, the tattoos, all of it. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, do people ever think when you guys take the stage and they don't know what your sound is, do they think you guys are coming out to play some kind of extreme heavy metal?
I don't know, because I never get a chance to chat to them right as we go on. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those questions like, do you think people think this? You go, well, they might do, but I have to think
when you take the stage. I have to think when you take the stage that people must think, man, this is going to be a big fucking mosh pit, and this is going to get scary.
Then I go on wearing really flowery shirts, and they're like,
that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, the people don't see it like this. So the question that I asked you before we had our little glitch there was, when we were talking and setting this up, you mentioned, I'm going to go grab something to drink and I'm going to go to the loo. And I'm always fascinated by the difference in terms. And I talked about this a little bit with Seek or whatever, but where does that term come from, the loo? Because I imagine you being an English guy, you've been calling the bathroom the loo for your whole life.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know where the loo came from. It's also called the toilet. We don't call it the bathroom because we don't necessarily have a bath in there. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Like sometimes a loo is just a toilet. Like there's a little tiny corner in your mum's house, which is under the stairs. That's just a toilet. Like, to call it the bathroom would be preposterous. But,
now you guys being a band, and I've watched some clips of you guys on YouTube. Obviously me being here in the States, I've yet to actually experience you guys, in a live setting, other than just through videos. But I obviously tell, that you guys put a lot into your live performances. But I'd like to get your opinion, because this is very topical right now. What do you think when you see bands, especially these older bands, do they get a free pass when you see them cheating and doing behind the scenes stuff to make the live experience better? Or do you want to see the live experience, even if some of it is kind of shitty?
I don't know really. Like, it's, again, as with a lot of me, it's a bit of a kind of double-edged, thing. I've got no problem with people doing as much as they can to embellish the live performance. However, I do want the live. If I'm paying X £100 to go and see, I want to see them. You know what I mean? I don't want to see body doubles. That's a very extreme. But you get what I mean. Like I want there to be some genuine aspect of the thing. I don't want there to be one person on stage and I'm hearing 5 vocals. You know what I mean?
Right. Does that go for even bands? Does that go for bands even like a Kiss and a Motley Crue, because they've gotten older and can't replicate what they did in their younger days? Or do you still want to hear them? Would you rather walk out of there and say, God, man, they didn't sound like they did 30 years ago, man.
No,
but I got the real live experience.
I wouldn't be about that. I'd much rather bands like that accept the fact that I don't necessarily think they should accept the fact that they can't do it anymore, but I feel like they should change who they are, because in fact they have changed. You know what I mean?
Right. Sure.
You know what I mean? Don't live for who you were in the 80s, because you ain't that fucking person anymore. Right. I'd love to hear Motley Crue sing Dr. Feelgood in the way they can do it now. Right. I don't want to hear it the way they did it, because that's not who they are anymore. You know what I mean? But some people just want to be in that moment, you know.
And you know what? I like the way you put that, because you're one of the first musicians that's actually given that answer, though. Like, why can't they do a different variation of it and kind of do the song, within the confines of the capabilities now, you know?
Yeah, it's still a great song. It's a fucking brilliant song. But like, just, you know, I'm not imposing that they necessarily can't do it nowadays. But like, I'm just saying that I do feel a bit bad for bands that their whole life, you know, we're talking about the top tier, we're talking about the Rolling Stones, we're talking about Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, you know, the bands who cut the cloth for what it is to be a rock band.
Right.
I feel a bit bad for them, because I feel like their audience holds them in a position where they can't change, or they can't they can't grow old. They can't grow old gracefully. They have to be who they were in the 80s, and that's not fair. That's not. You can't expect someone who's pushing 76.
I know.
To do it. Like,
I know. You're right. And unfortunately, people, you know, like, people want the same experience that they had when they saw Motley Crue in 1985. You know,
and they can't have it. They just,
and that's not fair to. And it's not fair to even put Motley Crue and even set the bar that high for them at this stage of their lives. You know?
Exactly. And you know, I just feel like, you know, as and when I get to the point in my life where the way I'm singing now, I can't necessarily do. I do hope that I continue to sing, but I hope that I have the humility and the self awareness to look at it and go, right, I'm going to do something different, because I can't be the Stevie I was when I was 31. You know what I mean?
Right. So when the Black Crowes break up, and then the brothers famously got back together here the last couple of years with a very different lineup, though. Are you digging the fact that the Black Crowes are just playing out? You know, you're just happy that they're back, or do you feel like you're not quite getting the full Black Crowes? Are you happy with just the brothers and some hired guns?
It's a hard one. Like, as someone, again, who lives in England, and also as someone who never got the chance to see them beforehand, I'm very, 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 very happy to see the brothers play over here. Yeah. Would I love to see the original Black Crowes play together? Yes, I would, but not at the detriment of the songs in their live show. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You're like,
I'm actually in the midst right now of reading Steve Gorman's book, and so there was obviously a lot of turmoil and a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Like, you know,
if it ain't gonna work, there's no point forcing it. But I'm gonna go see them, because they're a huge part of my life.
Sure.
You know, and the other members will be missed, but they'll be held in reverence at the shows, knowing that they helped create the songs that I love, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They won't be forgotten about. It's not like I'm just going for the Brothers Robinson, you know what I mean?
Right. But when you look at the Brothers Robinson, and you realize that, you know, that these guys are related by blood, and you see them have such a rift that caused them, you know, years of inactivity and not playing with each other, you really realize, though, when you hear guys in bands say, you know, that it's like a brotherhood, or like a big dysfunctional functioning family or whatever. You know, how do you do it, though, man? Because you got different personalities in a band. You know, do you guys yourself, the guys in Bad Touch, is there ever any kind of animosity, or do you guys all seem to pretty much get along good all the time?
100%. Like, anyone who tells you that a rock band gets on all the time and there's never any turmoil and we're all just one big family, they're completely lying. Because, like, we are not necessarily, any kind of band goes to this kind of sine wave of things. Like, when we joined for a common cause. We then we then grew together as a band, and then grew apart as people as we grew up. But we're then rejoined together by the fact that we still want to do this, and we're 31. You know, you think when you get into your early 30s, there's a lot of things that are now pressing in your life. But I've got 4 brothers who are still willing to take their only time off between work, marriage, kids, whatever, and sit in a tin can of a van and go play some shitty venues around the UK. You know what I mean? And
that's passion.
And I wouldn't trade that for anything, you know?
Yeah. Now, Now let me ask you this, and this kind of goes as a part two to that question. When it is so tough and daunting in the music business right now, and you know, it's no secret that attaining commercial success and making money in the music business right now is very tough. You know, having done it for as long as you have, and sometimes not seeing the fruits of your labor, you know, pay off huge. Is it tough to keep the morale of a band up? Is it hard to keep 4 or 5 guys in a band invested and to keep them motivated and trying to keep their eyes on the big prize when it's hard to get to the big prize?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously it is, but like again, going back to that sine wave thing, like we had this dream when we were in our early 20s of, you know, being the Guns N' Roses and the Motley Crues and the whatevers, and it's all about, and it sounds really corny, but it's all about keeping it real. Like we are in our early 30s. We've got some time left. If you'd have told 18-year-old me that I'd be signed to Marshall Records, the amp company that I've got literally a poster in my bedroom wall over there, which was signed by Jim Marshall in 2005 or something, when I was 13 years old, you know, the leaps and bounds that we've come on, just because we're not playing stadium gigs, are huge. And, you know, and yes, we're still skint. Yes, we're still, you know, struggling. But the fact is that we all still love it as much as we did when we were 19, 20, 21, you know. So it's you got to keep it real. Like, yes, we want to be there. Of course we want to be there. Are we happy where we are? Well, if we weren't, we wouldn't be together. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, you know, we talked earlier about making it in the States and what the big picture is and the big goal or whatever. Who do you see yourself, if you could play devil's advocate right now and put yourself on a dream bill outside of the Black Crowes, you know, which is obviously the obvious, you know, comparison of your sound or whatever, but who is something that you'd love to see yourself on a dream bill with?
Well, it's got to be, talking American bands, it's got to be Blackberry Smoke and probably Blackstone Cherry, because they are two of the. Charlie Starr is a huge influence on me as a guitar player and a songwriter, as is Chris Robinson from Blackstone Cherry. So you know, to be sandwiched in between those two would be an absolute dream come true.
Okay, fair enough. And now the live experience now is obviously very important for bands trying to make it, because a lot of bands, you know, it's feast or famine. They are making a lot of their money off live shows and merchandise, and obviously that's become like a very pivotal part of the business. What are people going to get? Like, what would you tell somebody that hasn't seen Bad Touch? You guys should come see us live because this is what you get.
Yeah. I would say that you won't find a more honest show. Like, we pride ourselves, look, we touched on this earlier, Rex, that we all I've ever tried to do is break down the boundary between band and person wanting to be in music, to see the music, because we are in fact the same people. I go to shows just as much as you go to shows, as much as anyone goes to see shows, and I love being down the front row and taking it all in. And anyone, and to have that understanding of what it feels like to see a show helps me create the music that we create, if you know what I mean. Like, it's kind of, it perpetuates itself, and our fans and our they are our family. We call them our family. And I say this every night on show. Every band says thank you for being there, but I promise you, no one will ever mean it as much as us. And that is the truth, because to think that we've got so much shit going on in the world at the minute, and to think that someone would take one of their evenings, 3 hours of their life, their short time on this planet, to come and see a band. That, you know what I mean? And they pay money to see that. The money they work for shit pay for. You know what I mean? Is a real thing, and people don't put enough gravity on that.
I sense that. I sense that coming from you being very genuine, and you don't hear a lot of artists like really kind of turning around on themselves and really put themselves in the fan shoes. Because you're right, and especially with what ticket prices have become with some bands, it's becoming astronomical. You know what I mean? So you really got to kind of pick and choose. Over here in the States, it's got kind of crazy. You really got to pick and choose your shows because you can't go see them all. By the time you get done paying for parking and gas, and you go get the T-shirt, you get the ticket. I mean, I know somebody that just paid $1,200 for a Bruce Springsteen ticket.
Yeah. I went to see Chili Peppers in London.
Yeah.
At the Olympic Stadium, and by the time I paid all the admissions charges, and
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you know what I mean. And that cannot go unheard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Think, to think that we're playing a show in London, and someone may or may not go there and pay the 15 quid, 20 quid a ticket. But they've still done that, and if they're there, then they are really, truly invaluable.
So are you guys the kind of band that like that really wants to, like, after a show, like, stay around and interact with their fans? Like, you guys seem like you'd be a pretty fan friendly band.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We do. The problem is that sometimes the logistics make you seem like an asshole. Like, if you're 5 hours from home and you've got to go home, and you're driving 5 hours from home and you've finished at 10:30 at night, and you're not going to get home till 3-4 o'clock in the morning. People go, well, come chat with us, and you're like, look, I'm really thankful, but we do have to go.
Yeah. We have lives too. There's this little thing called sleep that we'd like to get.
It's obviously there at festivals and all that kind of thing. But 100%, we do try. Me more so than the rest of them. We've got really good. This is again part of the fact that it's so nice to have people in the band who know what it's about. Like, as soon as the gig's over, I'm at the merch stand and I'm chatting to people. Right, and I'm standing there feeling real guilty because the other four are up there packing all the gear down. And it's the whole lead singer thing. Like, I'm really sorry. Like, and they're like, but they're like, they could not be more supportive. They're like, no, that is your work. You know what I mean? You've got to be the guy. Is that something that you take on yourself though? That you take on, like, I'm the front man, you know what I mean? Like, I should be out there meeting the people. No, I don't take it on as in I feel entitled to it, but I do feel like I do go there because people do like to talk to me. You know what I mean? There's you've got to get there's a realism involved. Like, I would much rather us all pack the gear down and everyone was down there and everyone get the equal share of the pie.
Right.
And quite often people go, is George coming out? Is Rob coming out? Is Bailey coming out? Is Six coming out?
Yeah.
And I go, yes, they will be. You know what I mean? So it's just the fact that the guys are happy to do it, and they go down there because they don't want people to miss that connection. If you know what I mean.
Right. So what's touring like in England for a band of your status? Is it you guys just go and do gigs like on the weekends? Do you do a small handful? Do you go out for weeks or months at a time? How does that work over where you guys are?
It depends. Well, it's changed as we've got older because we've what's the word? Matured is a strong word. But we tend to put fit gigs around us more. You know what I mean? Rather than us fitting around the gigs. You know what I mean? Like, as we've all got, a couple of the people, a couple of the guys are married now. We've got different priorities in life.
Right.
But yeah, we do gigs as often as we can. We're doing at least two tours a year, where we book a couple of weeks out, where we go touring around the UK.
Okay.
Hopefully dip into Europe. Again, it's our dream to come to America. Just the right offer needs to come our way. So yeah, we just do as much as we can within the confines of our small little lives,
Okay, so the last album we saw was 2020. So the big question is, when's the new album coming?
Well, 100%, you can have this for free, 100% genuine. We are going into the studio in September to record another full-length album.
Okay.
So it's going to be, by the time we've got promo and and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably going to be early months of next year, but 100%. It is more than in the pipeline. It is nearly created. So
it's nearly created. Okay, so a lot of the work is already done. I think Seeks kind of said something to that effect as well. So so obviously that would be a good chance for you guys to come over here to the States. I'm going to make a few phone calls, Stevie. I'll make it happen for us.
Phone calls, dude. Like I'm gagging, man.
You're dying to get over here, right?
Dying, man.
Have you been to the States before, though? Have you ever been?
I have never been. I've spoken to my partner, Christy, about, like I said, look, I just want to come over there. I want to come over for the food and the music and just the culture, and just like, I'd love to just come over and just be an American for a few weeks,
Well, if you're coming over for tea, you might get this, what I'm drinking this morning right here.
Wow, that looks like tea.
Lipton Brisk. That's Lipton Brisk iced tea right there. I'm more of an iced tea kind of guy, but well, I think what Seeks has told me that he doesn't think that an American cup of tea is probably going to cut it for him.
No, he is quite the conconnoisseur.
Bit of a snob, bit of a tea snob.
He is a bit of a tea snob.
Yeah,
and but then again, he doesn't drink that much. I'm a bit of a beer snob, so how do I? All right, so how do I become an honorary Brit? Is there a way I can get knighted, or can you give me a certificate, or like what do I? I want to be an honorary Brit. Is just talking to you make me an honorary Brit? Yeah, I can give old Lizzie a phone call if you want. I've got her on speed dial.
Really? You're that close with her, huh?
Yeah,
you
man.
Can give old Lizzie a phone call. I'm sure she'd love to hear you refer to her like that too. Old Lizzie.
Me and Lizzie are like that.
Are you really?
Yeah, 100%.
I can see Lizzie being a Bad Touch fan.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Why wouldn't she be, right? I mean,
I know, right? Why? Who wouldn't be?
So, what did you think when you saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers? How did you like the gig?
Oh, it was great. I mean, the reason I kind of went was because it was my first gig when I was about, I think I was either 13 or 14, and the Chili Peppers were over here, and they played about an hour and a half from where I live, where I grew up, and I went with my childhood best friend, who now lives in London. And I don't live in London. I live in rural Suffolk, Norfolk, which along with the guys. And I said, look, the Chili's are coming over. It was our first gig together. Shall we reconnect and go and see them play? And he was like, what a brilliant idea. Because, we had a great day, went drunk too much lager and got to see the band play the songs that we love, and again, just sort of reconnect as people. So.
What is because obviously I've read a lot of the rock biographies written by the guys that came up in the 80s. Like I said, I'm reading Steve Gorman's right now, but I've read ones from Slash and from the lead singer of Rat, and all. You hear all these tales of debauchery, all these bands as they navigated through the 80s. When you're a young band out there right now, like, are there still those same trappings? Is it still a big party, or is a lot of it just really work now? Because someone told me the other day, here's our typical day: loading in the gear, loading it out, sitting at the merch booth. So are those days long gone of a bunch of hot chicks hanging around and blow and weed and drinking and cavorting around?
I think it's one of those things. I think it is what you make it. Like I know there are some bands on the circuit out there that that dream is very much still alive, and that's what they make, and that's why they do it, and that's what's going to happen. Yeah. For us, we are probably the dullest rock band in the world. Like,
but you'll last a long time that way. You'll last a long time.
Like Six, going back to Six, like if there's not a kettle in the dressing room, like he's kicking off, Yeah. It's you make your own fun, and fun and rock and roll is different for different people. Like we have a great time. I certainly have a different great time to when I was in my early 20s. You know what I mean?
Right. Sure.
Things aren't happening what used to happen, but like, is it any less fun? Not for me. Like,
well, I don't know if it's your thing or not, but one good thing about the States is they've really lessened up the strictures on weed over here. So that's been a good thing. That's been a good thing.
I mean, who knows? Not to put, who knows? My mum might listen to this podcast, but definitely I'd.
Stevie wouldn't do anything like that, Mom. Don't worry.
Mum. Definitely wouldn't. But yeah,
if Stevie comes over to the States, we'll keep him on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, who's to know what would happen if I came over to the States?
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, geez, I don't want mom putting the kibosh on the trip. That wouldn't be good. You know, I mean, she is still mom, right? You got to listen.
That's it. Mummy knows best. You know what I mean?
I think that's pretty universal, no matter where you live. You know, I mean, when mom cracks the whip, that's it. You know,
that's it, mate.
So okay, so we're gonna be getting a new album. We're gonna get you guys to the States. We're gonna figure out a fucking way to do it, Stevie. We gotta
do it, man. Let's do it together.
We have to. I really appreciate you taking some time to talk to me this morning, man. It's been an honor talking to you. I love what you guys are doing. I love the sound of this band. Like I say all the time about young bands on here that I like. That I love. I'm flying the flag for you guys and trying to tell everybody that I can about you guys and turn as many people on to you guys as I can because I love what you're doing. Yeah,
cheers, man. Well, honestly, and I if you take all of the bullshit out of what I've possibly said this interview, please take from this. You cannot know how much it means to have someone like you flying the flag over there.
I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying that.
Someone who's still got the dream in his heart. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, just take one look at me. I mean, come on. I epitomize I epitomize the American frontman right here.
Hang on. It's like looking at the future. Let's see if I've got a cat back here. I can do this one. There you go.
Oh, nice. That kind of makes me think of the '90s grunge scene over here.
Yeah, I got one of the old.
That way looks good. That way, you know what? You're one of those guys that I absolutely hate because you can pull off any look, and you got better hair than me. I don't like it at all.
That's mate. It's judgment and jealousy. Only makes you look at.
I feel threatened when there's another good-looking, strong alpha male frontman around me.
Well, I'm certainly not an alpha male, by any stretch.
I gotta let my guard down a little bit and be. I feel like I can learn from other frontmen. You know, I mean,
that's it. And that's something I always take from every show. I go to live music, from the Chili Peppers down to street level grassroots bands, and I always try and take something away from it, whether I love it, hate it, whatever. Like if there's something that they're doing that I really enjoy or really think is great, I'll try and implement that in what I'm doing. Or if there's something I go, oh God, I never want that to be me. Like,
right.
I try and learn something from everything, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah. So in closing, if I'm going to drop Stevie Westwood on a deserted island, and he can only take with him either Shake Your Money Maker or Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. What do you take?
Why would you do that to me, man?
What do you take? Which one?
Oh no. That's I'd have to take Shake Your Money Maker.
Me too.
But then I'd carve like remedy into my leg.
I feel like you really rose to the occasion, man, because I feel like, a lot of these are random, and I will taper some of them, try to cater some of them to who I'm going to have on. I didn't know you'd wrestle so much with the Sabbath and Zeppelin one, but I figured you'd probably be a fan. I figured you'd be a fan of at least one of those two bands,
Both of them. I listen to loads of heavy metal, and metal is a big thing in my life. So.
Well, you rose to the occasion, man. I really held your feet to the flame there, man. I mean, I didn't mean to torture you so much. I mean,
it's hard, man. It's hard.
Well,
I'm not over it, if I'm honest.
I traumatized you. I'm very sorry about that. That's our American ways over here, right? Just a bunch of boorish assholes.
Yes.
But listen, anything that I can do, man, when we get you guys to the States, I'll put you up in the goddamn house if I have to, Stevie. You're welcome.
That's great, man.
You're welcome here.
That means so much, Rick.
Yeah. Whatever it takes.
Genuinely been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, mate.
Yeah, yes. You too. I wish you guys the best of luck with everything going forward, and definitely let's stay in touch and let's do this again.
100%. Anytime you want it, mate.
Yeah. It was great talking to you, Stevie. Have a good rest of your day, buddy.
All right, man. All the best.
All right. Love you, brother. Great. Take it easy.
All the best.
All right. Bye-bye. Right. And there he goes. Stevie Westwood, not to be mistaken with Stevie Winwood. He is the lead singer, the front man for a band over in England called Bad Touch, which I don't believe there is any such thing. I mean, I've touched women a million different ways and no one's ever said it was bad. But of course, they're also being touched by me. But that is Stevie Westwood, Bad Touch. Last album they put out in 2020 was called Kiss the Sky. And I'm telling you, if you like Southern rock in the vein of Black Crowes, or Allman Brothers kind of mishmash there, especially Black Crows. You'll hear a lot of Black Crows, and if you're a fan of them, you'll be a fan of Bad Touch. And they are, of course, across the pond. We had a little bit of a glitch in the middle, so I went a little extra long when Stevie went back and got into the house and reconnected with us and got a better internet connection. So I apologize to the PodScum audience out there for the little glitch in between, where I had to kind of eat up some time and talk a little bit while we waited to reconnect with Stevie. But, you know, also keep in mind that he is across the pond. So, I mean, you know, technology is not without its flaws. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I enjoyed talking with him. Stevie Westwood, the band is Bad Touch. Go out and check them out or fucking die. Those are the two choices I got for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will see you guys on the next episode of PodScum. And remember to take it easy and keep it sleazy.